Hello friends, this is Raj Sastry from Raj Option Trading. Today is August 3rd, 2021. I want to talk about a biotechnology company called TG Therapeutics, ticker symbol TGTX. These guys are into relentless focus on hard to treat diseases and they're a fearless leader. So with that, let's get started. And as you can see here, the company started back in 2012, and they'd been trying to develop novel treatment options and lot of things under development here. Five medicines, 35 clinical trials, and focused fiercely on B cell diseases. And they got positive readouts in 2020. And as you can see here, they're positioned for growth in 2021 plus with lot of good pipelines. So with that, let's get started here. As you can see here in the pipeline perspective, they got here euconic monotherapy here, and I think they got an approval here for relapsed refractory MZL and FL. That's a good story. At least that's a drug which is approved. And as we go into later in in 325 2022, they got something else in the pipeline. As you can see here, frontline RR, CLL, SLL. So I think they got one more drug here in the pipeline here. And as we go into later, I think it's really into Q3 of 2021, later 2021, they got a treatment for relapsing MS, again, good candidate here, and they got triple therapies later. So really good looking pipeline here. Even though they don't have solid sales right now, they got a lot of catalysts for the future. That's always good in biotech companies. So with that, let's jump in here. From a company profile perspective, these guys are commercial stage biopharmaceutical company focusing on acquisition, development, commercialization of novel treatments for B cell. So I think this is a great one. You got to look for hard to find diseases and cure them. That's a great story here. So also as you can see here, they got multiple pipeline candidates. They're working on non-Hodgkin lymphoma and multiple other areas, including multiple sclerosis. So I think company is really working very hard to find cure for these diseases. Stock price is around 27.53 and market cap is about $3.89 billion. As you can see the stock chart here, nice looking chart. They've been doing very well and looks like stock has caught fire back in January of 2021, and now stock has given all of that back. As you can see here, all the surge that we had since December, January, everything is back right now. They're kind of into 2019 levels somewhat. So we got to see if this is worth investing at this point and go from there. From a CEO perspective, we got Michael Weiss. He founded and served as the company's CEO since December 2021, and before that he's got various relevant experience, especially in the oncology and multiple biotechnology companies, including the venture financing and venture capital. I think as a CEO he kind of checks out with a lot of good relevant industry exposure. Now, from a news perspective, looks like they reported the Q2 loss and they missed the revenue. That's why folks are really spooked in the Wall Street. Why this company is missing both on earnings per share as well as revenue estimates, and they're also worried the company is spending a lot of money in SG&A and the expenses. So with that, that's the big news here. That's why stock has dropped 20% in single day. And also looks like according to this news from Barron's, this is one of the bargain stocks here. And that's the overall news here. So with that, let's jump in here. From a competition perspective, as you can see here, we got a lot of great competitions in this space. We got Curis, Fate, ZLAB, Nano, and so on and so forth. The company that we are talking about, TG Therapeutics, is right in the middle of the mix here. $27 stock, Nice sales growth. I love the sales growth here. 5 year 43%, 1 year 497%. The reason you'll see these huge numbers is really the sales is very low. As you can see here, 1 million in sales. The moment you take the 1 million number, any improvement will make it look very big. That's why you see huge numbers in terms of sales growth here. But as you scan through here, they're still losing money. Net margin is negative, and as you see here, high short ratio. Any good news, stock can shoot up, and valuation perspective, it's very price to sales ratio is very high, so meaning it's highly valued at this time. They dropped 21% in one single day, and as you can see here, they've been dropping almost for the last 6 months. Still on a 1 year basis, they have solid performance, 37%, and 5 year they got 374% solid performance. Year to date they lost 52%. And I like many of these companies. As you scan through this year, we got CRIS here, Curis, 7% growth here in 5 years. They've done nicely for 1 year, as you can see here. Fate, ZLAB, all of them got positive sales growth, as you can see here. I like many of these companies. They're also well off their highs. I would be buying all these companies selectively and slowly but surely. So with that, I also love companies like Bristol Myers, always a great company. Steady Eddie, as you can see here, negative. I mean, it's low 1 year performance, 19%. And I also like companies like Incyte, great one. Right now, negative 22% performance. Good one to buy into this downturn and hold for a while. With that, let's get started here. From a quick statistics perspective, as you can see here, nothing latest here. Back in April, looks like Goldman initiated with the neutral, and we got back in April again with the Wainwright buy indication. So back then, I think stock price was higher, so that's why you could see the price targets much higher. From an earnings per share perspective, as you can see here, we got negative earnings per share all along, meaning companies really not making money. They're in fact losing money. That's why earnings per share is negative all along. Sales is pretty constant here, around $0.20 million. Very low sales, as you can see here, and shares outstanding is growing. This is how companies fund their R&D, especially these biotech companies. They've been issuing the shares or increasing the outstanding shares that can help to fund some of these pipeline candidates. So with that, from a fundamental perspective, right now it's a $27 stock, and solid growth from a 5 year, 1 year perspective, on the basis of 1 million sales, which is a low number. That's why these sales numbers gets glorified, because basis is very small, and net profit potential, profit margin is negative right now. Company is losing money, as evidenced by earnings per share right here. And as you can see here, RSI is 41. That tells you right now company stock is oversold completely. You could jump in and buy some. And as you scan through here, company performance perspective, negative performance 1 day, 1 week, 2 week, all the way to 6 months, and positive performance is 1 year and 5 year. 52% off from 52-week high. So with this, we got to really wonder, is it a good time to buy now, or should we wait and watch? We'll jump in and get look at these details. And from a trading volume perspective, respectable trading volume. Yesterday, 8.5 million shares traded. 3-month average is 1.05 million shares. That's a respectable volume. Company has got a lot of cash here, 524 million. They can take their operations through 2023 without any issues. They got some debt which is completely manageable, and free cash flow is negative. Company is still not making money. They're spending money on R&D, which is very good. Research and development is really humming. That's a great story here. And as you can see here, they're below their 20-day moving average. they're below their 50-day moving average. They're also below their 120-day moving average. From a technical perspective, right now they're in a bear territory with the stock below their moving averages for 20, 50, and 120-day, and even 200-day moving average. And 5 year they've done nicely, 373.60% return. And as you can see here, ROA and ROE, return on asset as well as return on equity, both are negative. That tells you company is not profitable yet, and they're not making any operating cash right now. They're losing money every quarter, by the tune of 234 million. So with that, company is really trying to bring some new drugs to market, but in the meantime, company is losing money. So that's the overall highlight here. Good pipeline. Currently, company is losing money, and a negative earnings statement here with the they missed on both earnings per share as well as revenue estimate. That's why share dropped big time. So with that, if you look at the fundamentals here, $27 stock, market cap is about $3.93 billion. As we look through this company, through the quarters and years, back in 12/31/2018, the market cap was 343 million. As you can see, our company has done nicely. In those days, I think the market cap appreciated slowly but surely. Right now, back in March, market cap was 6 billion. Now it's cut in half almost into 3.9 billion. So as you can see, these type of biotech companies, any bad news around the earnings or even some clinical trials can send the stock up or down pretty, violently. That's why you got to have some conviction if you invest in these biotech names, and then take it from there. From a stock price perspective, same story. It was $4.10 stock back in 2018. It came to 48.20 back in March. Along the way, it's a nice ride, as you can see here. Right now, stock price is cut in half almost into 27.79. And sales perspective, this is where most of the issues come in. They have no sales all the way to 2020, zero sales, or very small number, and they got 1 million sales in 2021. You could kind of think through, hey, this is a start where they will start making money in 2021. So I think they've been working on these hard to find treatment for diseases all along. That's why they're burning money. Now they got one candidate approved by FDA. I think this is a start. They will start making money here, and they're also working on multiple other pipeline candidates. From a sales change perspective, as you can see here, they got a huge sales change here. The basis is very small. That's why you see this huge exaggerated number. From a revenue surprise, as you can see here, they've been pretty much in line or negative all along. Pretty much in line and positive surprise, I would say. But in 331 and even recently, the quarter ending in July, I think they announced negative revenue. That's why stock came down. The two consecutive quarter where revenue surprise is negative, earnings per share surprise is positive. Wall Street is not happy about that. That's why stock dropped vigorously. And from a cash perspective, I think they got good amount of cash, 524 as of 331. Now it's around 400 and 400 million. So that's a good cash position. Total debt is very much manageable, under control. Cash flow is negative, as you can see here. Nice gross margin, 82.50%. Operating margin and net margin both are negative, not meaningful at this time. R&D, they're spending money on R&D, which is very much essential for these early stage clinical companies. They got to differentiate by spending on research and development. And ROE, or return on assets, and return on equity both are negative. Company is not profitable, and price to sales ratio is very expensive. So companies are overvalued at this time. So with that, the key takeaway is really two earnings misses consecutively, 2 quarters earnings miss, both from revenue perspective and EPS perspective, that got Wall Street spooked and stock came down drastically. So with that, now let's look at performance of this company through the years. So as you can see here, this company is known to go up and down violently. So you should invest by looking at the profile here. So as you can see here, 2010, 2011 negative, and then the company took off like a rocket ship in 2012, 13 and 14. Nice performance, and again 2 more drops here. Nice performance, 1 more drop, nice performance. So the key to invest in these type of companies is really catch them when they're really bad, like right now, and hang on to it for a while and enjoy the ride. So you got to have some patience with companies like TG Therapeutics, and I think they can give you very good return. And from a monthly performance perspective, something similar here. Nice performance, big drop, again nice performance, drop. Anytime you see a drop here, it always comes back even stronger in the coming months, as you can see here. So that's why I'm not too much worried about the drop here in August and July. Even this whole year, as you can see here, more red than green. It's understandable for a company like TG Therapeutics to show some red, but all these reds will turn into green as we go forward. From a weekly performance, as you can see here, it's a mixed bag here. Big drop, company picked up again. Huge drop here with yesterday's loss of about 20.03%. So this is where you know you got to have some conviction here. Look at a little bit more longer term horizon and invest in companies like TG Therapeutics. From a daily performance, as you can see here, more reds than greens. I think this is when the company stock drops like this. That's a good candidate. We should slowly buy and accumulate companies like TGTX into this weakness. And now we look at monthly performance pattern here. As you can see, a stock price is 27.79, market cap is 3.9 billion. Through the years, as you can see here, I got here all the way from 2010 to 2021. I got yearly highs and yearly lows. As you can see here, let's look at the spread here. Almost very good spread. If you catch the company at a lower price, you could always make nice money. So good performance as you scan through here, up and down, negative 76%, negative 98% in 2010, 2011 respectively. And then the stock picked up nicely in 2012, 13 and 14, then dropped, picked up. That's why companies like this, you got to have a little more patience here, but they will reward you handily or handsomely over the period of time. And if you look at the performance here over the quarters, typically look for August here. Right now we're in August. This company reports in August, typically one of the quarter. As you scan through here in August, they did badly. But if you look at August of 2019, same story. Company did badly in August and also in July, but it picked up again in October, November and December. And as you scan through here, again, company did badly in August back in 2015, picked up again, but overall ended negative. And again, company did badly back in 2019. Looks like this August time frame is little difficult for the company, but it started improving. It was bad back in 2010, 2011, started getting a little better in 2012. I think company will start making some money as they got one drug approved and working on many other candidates. So in a nutshell here, don't worry too much about this huge drop. The stock is known for these huge drops, as you can look through. August, big drop, and I think they reported back in April. I think in May they came out again. After the earnings, there is a huge drop again. So very much expected in companies like TG Therapeutics to go down drastically. By looking at this chart, I suggest don't worry too much. for a company like TG Therapeutics, it's very much understandable. Stock can go down in maybe a month or two consecutively, which is very well expected here. Now we look at the chart here. This is a 10-year weekly chart of TG Therapeutics from Thinkorswim from Charles Schwab. So as you can see here, this stock has dropped tremendously in last month or so. Right now they're up here. They have I think now they're into 2019 levels here. I feel like this is overdone at this point. Stock can look at some improvements about this. As you can see here, there it has crossed, it's below multiple moving averages here on a weekly basis. I would really start buying the stock at this time for a nice appreciation as we go forward. Now let's look at a weekly, 1 year, 1 day chart here. As you see here, stock has dropped, on the earnings. As you look through the earnings here, there's the earning here. Stock traded sideways, went up, caught fire here. Earnings here, stock went up. Earnings, stock came down a little bit. Earnings, stock crashed. So for a stock like TG Therapeutics, this is nothing new. This is how they roll. So with that, I would not be too much worried here. Right now, RSI is dropping down 34, almost it's the lowest in last 1 year. Implied wall picked up as you can see here, but still IV percentile is low for this stock here, 28%. And as you can see here, volume average is a little bit dropping down here, understandable after the huge drop. And check-in money flow is also down right now, again understandable. Always happens when the stock crashes like this. All the technical indicators tell you, hey, shy away. But as investors and traders, we should have conviction to pick some up at these levels and slowly add more to your position. I think that's always a good strategy. When the chart is ugly, when there's a blood in the market, don't be afraid to invest some money, put some money to work. From an option chain perspective, let's see what option market is trying to tell us. Right now, stock price is around 27, as you can see here. So that's right on top here. So it's up here around 27. So as you can see here, so if you look through the strike price here, there is a lot of call options traded. As you can see, 30, 101 open interest, and 35, 595, all the way to 40 here. We got 1.1 thousand, 1121, and even up here at 50 and 55 we got a lot of option positions, a lot of open interest here. So that tells you folks in the option market are betting the stock will go up. In the meantime, on the put side of the house, I think folks are also buying some put option here around 5.6 thousand. And put volume is a little bit not as big as call volume, as you can see here. That tells you people are more bullish in the option market on TG Therapeutic here. So if you look at the today's option statistics here, as you can see here, put call ratio is 0.5. Call options are traded more, 9.7 thousand shares, and put options are traded less, about like half or so less. So that's why this makes it a little bit bullish here. I would probably look at this situation, try to add to my position slowly, and hold a nice position here. Now, if you look at the earnings history here, we got CEO Mike Weiss, and he talked about earnings transcript yesterday. The big news here is nothing surprise. They missed on the earnings per share by 7 cents, and they missed on the revenue by 1.99 million. Wall Street was looking for this company to slowly start showing some progress, given there is an approved drug in the market. But company missed 2 consecutive quarters. That's a no-no for Wall Street. That's why stock dropped by 20%. So from a news perspective, from an earnings call perspective, looks like they got multi-phase strategy, and they got a accelerated approval for Uconic. That's a good story. At least they got a good start here. And I think they're also working on multiple things, as you can see here: refractory marginal zone lymphoma, follicular life lymphoma. They got, this drug is really helping with these two indications here. And they're also estimating around 8,000 patients per year who will be seeking this treatment. I think that will be a nice growth for this company. At least one drug is out. They can start monetizing this drug and make some money. I think that's a good story. This is the first drug out in the market that will give them some much needed revenue stream. And they're also working on their pipeline. They submitted and received some with the target goal date of March 25. At least they're working on their pipeline, as you can see here. This will help with patients with the chronic lymphocytic leukemia. I think at least I like it because they're working on their pipeline to really help patients here. They're also targeting submission of BLA and multiple sclerosis. I think this is coming up later. I think that's a good one. One more candidate for the third quarter of next year. And they achieved 1.5 million net sales for this Uconic. That's a good one. I think at least they got some sales coming through. Not always money spent on R&D. There is something to show for. That's a good story. And looks like they're targeting 7.5 million to 12.5 million for the full year of 2021. That's good. And they have around 456 million in cash that can take them all the way to 2023. That's again good. At least they got cash. They don't need to worry about not able to fund the R&D. They got the net loss right now around 62 million, and it's a decrease of 12 million. I think at least they're making some progress there. And right now they got a net loss of 78.5 million, which is very much expected for early stage companies like TG Therapeutics. In a nutshell, company missed two consecutive quarters and they're in the punishment zone right now. I think it's very, very well expected. I would buy companies like this, on these down, when the stock is dropped like this. So with that, if you look at the insider trading, nothing to be worried about. Insiders own good chunk of the company, and I think they've been selling some all the way back in December and September. Nothing to be alarming. Very much expected here. Don't need to worry. And if we see what should we do now, TG Therapeutics Inc. dropped by 21%. What should I do now? So as you scan through here, it has underperformed the market so far this year and lost about 46% year to date. And they missed on both EPS as well as revenue for two consecutive quarters. Stock plunged 21% on the earnings miss and also increased SG&A expenses. Over the last quarters, company has not been able to surpass consensus earnings per share estimates. So as you can see here, all negatives so far: missed, dropped, not able to pass estimates. But on the positive side here, they got a good catalyst for next year: treatment for chronic lymphocytic leukemia and relapsing forms of MS. Good market opportunity here, 10 billion to 15 billion opportunity. And they also have combination drugs that we looked at earlier. In a nutshell, companies got very good pipeline. I would take advantage of this temporary drop in the stock price and buy some, add to my position. I'll be a little bit longer term for this company here. I think it can give you a handsome return if you sit through and buy at these levels and have some patience here. With that, thank you very much. Happy investing.